Well, if you watched the last episode of Rift News, you know that I have a harder week ahead of me. And because YouTube doesn't like it when people take longer breaks, I needed a quick video to pump out. But don't worry, the next video after this will be very unique. I think you'll enjoy that one. And after that, just so people know, I will take a short break, but I will stream Elden Ring. Anyway, Legends of Runeterra got some brand new cards, and I pretty much have something to say about all of them. Now, originally I wanted to post this video on Sunday, but I pushed it forward because I want this video to stay relevant. So let's have a look at what's happening with the story of Legends of Runeterra. You see, right after Legends of Runeterra was released, it was revealed that everything in Legends of Runeterra is canon, even though Poros are kinda weird. Like, they can survive on the Shadow Isles just fine. But then, when we got time traveling Cythria, it was revealed that not everything is exactly canon in Legends of Runeterra, and some things should be taken with a pinch of salt. So, when we get to talk about someone like Gnar, that should be taken into consideration. You see, the point of Gnar's story was that he was the last of his kind. He was an ancient Yordle who was there during the War of the Three Sisters. He got frozen in ice, and that's pretty much what preserved him. When he then broke out of the ice, the world was modern-ish. Even with his card reveals, all of that still makes sense. There is the fact that he is called the Missing Link, because he was supposed to be linking Yordles to their ancient ancestors. But you know, it was confirmed that Yordles are immortal, so that title is kinda meaningless. Although he should be renamed from the Missing Link to a Missing Link. Because somehow, even though they weren't preserved, we got more prehistoric Yordles. Sure, it is kinda explained in the cards. There you may learn that in Bandle City there is a volley, which Gnar really liked. And even though the volley transformed over time, it mentions that time behaves weirdly, and so somehow Gnar can still be there. These cards are morphing time, so don't think about them too much. So yeah, Gnar is not really that important, but I quickly wanted to mention him anyway. Then we get to the interesting part. Legends of Runeterra got to see a new Udir. In my opinion, his design absolutely makes sense. If you pay attention to his gloves and the beads on his neck, you may realize that this is in fact a modernized version of the Spirit Guard Udir. Which, if you didn't know, is what Udir canonically looked like when he came back from Ionia. After his encounter with Lee Sin, this is what he looked like. And I hope this is what he is supposed to represent in Legends of Runeterra. You see, in the post where they talked about him, they said that this version of Udir is sort of a hybrid between two versions. The version of a modernized Legends of Runeterra character, just like someone like Zillion, who is way better here, and the new upcoming VGU. It makes sense why they combined these two ideas, because they didn't even know what Udir would look like in League's VGU, so they couldn't use that VGU in Legends of Runeterra. That's why they were kinda forced into making their own version. It sounds a bit confusing, but what I really hope for is that they just make this version of Udir his canon version when he came back from Ionia. I really hope they don't turn this into some strange alternative timelines. As was proven in the past, people don't really like these. What's interesting to see is the other shamans behind him. We know that Udir was pretty much always a lone wolf, and then he joined Sejuani's side. But it could make sense why he is here, because after he returned from Ionia, he wanted to spread the pure shamanistic ways. But all of that is still just theory crafting. In the canon lore, as we know, after the Noxian invasion, he returned back to Freljord, he attuned to the local spirits again, and then returned to Sejuani, where the Volibear didn't take to his mind kindly. Anyway, I really like how all the shamans represent different spirits. You got the Stag Shaman, the Fox Shaman, the Merkwolf Shaman, the Mammoth Shaman, and even the Tusk Speaker, whom I wonder if they are connected to the Seal Sister. And among them all, there is Hiara Allseer. The interesting part about her is that she calls forth the wrath of the Freljord. Now, the name is referring to the fact that any of the spiritual beasts can be horrifying. But you know, I immediately started wondering if this is the Iron Boar. There is a reason why it is possible and reason why not. The way how Freljordian magic works, as far as we know, is that you have the animals, who are attuned to the magic of their animalistic spirit, and those animal spirits inherit their power from the old gods. So it is possible that there is the Iron Boar, which is an old god just like Orn or Volibear, and then there is the Boar Spirit, which is a lesser being that inherits the power of the Iron Boar. To give you an idea of how this works, if you look at Udir's bear stance, you can see that he is calling upon the spirit of the bear, not the Volibear itself. So it is possible that this boar is just a boar spirit. However, there is an interesting thing. If you look at Udir calling upon the spirit of the boar, that boar really looks like a normal boar. While here, this spirit has multiple eyes, multiple tusks, and whatever it is on their head. So because this looks vastly different than the spirit of the boar, there is the tiny chance that this might actually be an old god, and this might actually be the Iron Boar. Just a cool thing to think about. Anyway, that's pretty much it for Udir. So now let's have a look at the elephant in the room, Galio. The cards connected to Galio pretty much speak for themselves. Their descriptions don't reveal anything. It is all just people who are secretly making more constructs like Galio. You know, beings made of stone that come to life. But there is so much weirdness surrounding all of this. You see, Galio is supposed to be a secret. They think that it is just a statue depicting the winged protector, which in theory should be Gale. And no one knows that he actually wakes up when magic is present. In fact, right now in Demacia there is only one mage whose magic is so powerful she can make Galio wake up, and that is Lux. And to make things even better, the one who created Galio was Durand. He made him after the king told him to create something that would absorb magic. However, we know that in secret Durand did something special to Galio. We don't know if it is some kind of a soul magic, but whatever he did to him, no one knows what that is. All we know is that because of Durand, Galio is somehow special. That's why he can wake up. If Durand didn't do something special to Galio, he would be just like anything else made out of petricite in Demacia. And if the entirety of Demacia behaved like Galio, the question is, why doesn't the entire city stand up when it's under siege by mages? The answer is, Galio is special because of Durand. Now, interesting thing number 1. All the sculptors are called after Durand. But Durand was a guy. Durand is not a place. So why is there the Durand architect and Durand sculptor? But you know, that's fine, maybe it's his legacy. Question number 2 is, how are they able to recreate Galio? We know that Durand did something to Galio but never told anyone about it. Even though it is an in-game quote, so it should be taken with a massive pinch of salt, Swain still confirms that the secrets of Galio died with his maker. So no one should be able to replicate Galio, because no one knows what happened. And yet, here we have people who are doing that. And the funny question number 3 is, how are they waking them up? When you go to the description of the Petricide Hound, it says, it's always a joy to see them come to life. What do you mean, it's always a joy? If they even work like Galio, they only wake up in the presence of magic. So are you casting spells on them on purpose to wake them up? How are you doing that in secret in Demacia? These are giant constructs. How has no one ever noticed them before? But also, the last time Galio woke up, it was when it happened because of Lux. But no one noticed that. She did it on accident, but fortunately no one noticed. So for decades, no one has seen Galio in action. So no one knows how powerful he is. So what's the motivation to make more constructs like him? You don't know if he's weak. Look at how massive he is. Do you think he needs the support of that thing? Speaking of which, the description of the Petricide Broadwing is, as the Broadwing passes overhead, the better Demacian soldiers below let out a cheer. Yeah, the Demacians who are terrified of magic cheer when they see this. At the end of the day, these cards are representing a made-up battle between Noxus and Demacia. So of course, in the canon lore, Galio was not woken up, because Noxus is not attacking Demacia. So even though I really like this battle between Galio and Sion, and I think it would be a really cool storyline for the future, this entire thing is still very sketchy. If Riot wants, they can pull it off in the canon universe, but it's gonna be very difficult to avoid holes. And lastly, we have to briefly talk about Yumi. Yumi's cards don't really reveal anything massive. It is cool to see that the Quick Quill is mad that Nora is missing. The Papercraft Dragon reveals all the other celestial beings. You can even see the Infinite Mind Splitter, the Stellacorns, and the White Flame Protectors. But more importantly, when you go to the Assistant Librarian, there you can find real Earth. Don't tell me we are connected to Runeterra. Now, in the past, these Easter eggs happened already. If you go to Ezreal, you can actually see the real comics on his table. This is why not everything in Legends of Runeterra is canon. So yeah, it could be just a funny Easter egg, but that's still Earth in Bandle City. For quite a while now, Riot has been trying to push forward the idea of multiverse, especially with what happened recently. And I remember in the past, Riot was trying to figure out if they can somehow bring back the summoners. It was a cool idea, but it really wasn't a great idea for storytelling. So now I'm wondering, is Riot testing the grounds? And will they try to pull off the summoners again? I really don't think that's the case. I think that this is just a silly Easter egg. Also, I don't recognize that map, so who knows, maybe that's Kamavor. But if, in the end, they do decide to go for summoners again, I am not going back to that theory.